So let's go back to the wisdom of the pages.
Yeah. So Evan Parks, doctorate of psychiatry, specializes in pain rehabilitation. The 6 signs you're lying to yourself, how to recognize when your confidence is covering up your self-deception. I had lunch with my wife, and so she participated in this. So the first thing that kind of came to mind is, how would you know? 6 signs. Ask your spouse and your friends. That's one that came to my mind. The other one is the mirror. I mean, if you look in the mirror, and the mirror reveals, right? Get a full-length mirror and reveal that birthday suit. The lie is staring right back at you. The other one we looked at is being busy versus being productive.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a sign that you're lying to yourself, that your confidence is covering up your self-deception. The fourth one is excuses or blame shifting, that there's always this reason why. I wanted to, but this happened and that happened, and it's not my fault. And the sixth one is your bank account.
Say more.
There's just this idea of being an entrepreneur, of being a hustler, having side gigs, or if you're listening to this podcast, you might have a mindset of I want to start coaching, and you've just got all of this self-confidence, but the bank account is empty or negative, and so at some point there's in some way that you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And so the evidence is you're not generating income, right? You're reading all the books, and you created a website, and you have a podcast, and you have a business card, and you got all these things, and you don't have a client. What do you think, Gov? What comes to your mind with 6 signs of are you lying to yourself?
That's interesting. On that last point that you mentioned about check your bank account, kind of check the scoreboard, see if the evidence is congruent with the story you're telling yourself. And this is one that I actually think about a lot. I'll think about, so I'm going to kind of digress for just a moment. I mean, it's still on this topic, right? But I'll ask this question a lot about, was Michael Jordan a champion before he ever won a championship?
Mm-hmm.
And, in a literal sense, no, he didn't have, you couldn't look him up on Wikipedia to see how many, back then Wikipedia didn't exist, but it wouldn't have listed champion. There were no gold medals. There were no, NBA finals trophies. There was no Hall of Fame induction. There was nothing to indicate, there was no hardware to show that Michael Jordan was a champion. But in another way, you could be darn sure that the story he was telling himself was that he was a champion, and it's part of the persona that he embodied. It was what he lived into. It was what he proved to the world.